Hey guys, it's Lauren from Granite State Yarns. It is Tuesday, January 28th, and today I'm getting some dyeing done. I actually have some Valentine's Day pre-orders to do, so I'm gonna work on those, and I thought I would bring you along for that. I'm actually participating with Leah from Leah Loves to Knit. She has a really cute Valentine's pattern coming out in a few weeks, and I am providing the yarn for that. So if you are interested in seeing how that yarn is dyed, please follow along in this video. It should be really fun. So right now I'm going to get my yarn ready to go, get it in the pan, and I will show you how I do it. See you in a little bit. A little glimpse into my yarn prep. My minis come all pre-measured and they're wound up, so I have to count them out and unwind them, and then I put them onto a zip tie here to keep them all nice and organized so nothing gets tangled. I put the main 100 gram skeins on these zip ties as well.
All right, we got the dry yarn all ready to go. It's in my pans here. So we're gonna do Romantic Rose in here and Be My Valentine in here.
Here I am sprinkling some citric acid on the dry yarn, and then I'm going to add water to the pan. In order to get the dye to stick, I'm going to need heat and acid. There's a little glimpse of my recipe book. Still need a bit more water. This yarn's a little dry. This is the part here where I kind of imagine a cat, just, you know, how cats need, soft things. So I'm starting the Romantic Rose batch here on the left side. And this just has a couple of different swirls of a mauve purple color and a sage green. And I'm going to get those swirls on both sides. I have two main skeins on each one of those zip ties. So I have 6 full skeins there. And yeah, I just kind of drizzle it on and then kind of move things around with my chopsticks to make sure that the color is getting moved around. I don't mind a little bit of white there. I actually kind of like seeing all those different tones. And then here on the right side, I'm doing a batch of Be My Valentine, which is a much darker, more red colorway. There's actually going to be some browns going in there in a little bit. So just pouring on all those different varieties of reds and pinks, and here's the brown. And again, just zhuzhing stuff around with the chopsticks. I'm going to flip these and make sure that the other side is getting all nice and colorful as well. Red dye can be a little bit trickier to work with because the red color molecules are a lot bigger than other colors. It doesn't like to stay in yarn as well as the other colors. If you get your hair dyed red, you probably are aware of this. You've got to be really gentle and careful with anything that's dyed red. And I definitely do not want my colors to bleed into other colors or to fade. So whenever I'm dyeing red yarn, I do like to cook it a little bit longer than any of my other colorways. So you will notice that this one does get a little bit of extra time in the dye bath. I do edit out a lot of the simmering time, so you're not seeing all of it here, but you will still be able to tell that red is getting cooked longer. So back to the Romantic Rose, I am now adding some speckles. We have some green and again, some of that reddish mauve pink color. So those are getting speckled on both sides of this particular colorway. I'm gonna flip it over here, make sure that all of the yarn is getting nice and pretty. So usually when I do my speckles, I mix that dye powder with some extra citric acid, and that helps the color to strike nice and quickly, so that way we can get some well-defined spots on our yarn. The Be My Valentine colorway does have a little bit of speckling as well. I'm going to add a little bit of that. There is some green and some red speckles. It's not nearly as obvious because this is a very dark colorway, but they are there, and if you look closely, you will see them. Note too how much red is still in that dye bath right now. Telling you, red is really stubborn and it doesn't want to get in the yarn. But don't worry, it will all get soaked up before you know it. At this point, I'm checking the Romantic Rose to make sure that all of the dye has gotten into the yarn, and I am satisfied with everything. So I'm going to put this in a bowl over here. It's a big plastic bowl that I have, and that's going to stay on the side. The yarn is still really hot, so it's going to continue to set on the side here. But in the meantime, I'm going to work on the minis that I need for this colorway. This particular sock set has 2 different colors for minis. Usually I just add one, but this is one that is going to have 2 different minis. It's going to have this dark mauve color as well as a much lighter mauve color. So I'm getting this first darker color done, and then when there's just a little bit of the dye still in the water bath, I will add the next batch of minis. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, these are the minis that I was setting up earlier in the video. So I have just the right number of them all ready to go. And you can see how they are the same colors, but one is much darker than the other. Now I'm taking a peek at the Be My Valentine, and you'll see that the red there has been getting into the yarn. There's just a little bit of dye left in that water. But I still want that to cook a little bit longer. So now that these minis are done, I'm going to be taking them out and putting them to the side. And I'm going to get started on the minis for the Be My Valentine set in the left pan here. So the first batch of minis is going to be a dark red. Adding the dye powder in here. There's 2 different dyes that I use for this particular recipe. So I put both of those red colors in there and a little bit of extra water because the dry yarn will suck up some water there, and I want to make sure that there's still plenty of water in that pan so that way we don't burn the yarn. I'm going to pour a little bit more on top. Again, I like a little bit of color variation, so I'm not looking for this to be super perfect. I want to see some darker areas and some lighter areas. But it is generally a pretty solid mini here. And again, this is a red dye, so it might take a little bit longer to get to absorb into the yarn. Now I'm checking the main colors. As you can see, they have definitely soaked up all that red. And I'm going to move them into the left pan with the other red mini so they can all just cook a little bit longer. Don't mind if the main colorways pick up a little bit of the red that's in there. It's perfectly fine. So now I'm going to get the last of the minis going. And this is supposed to be a very, very, very light pink, almost white mini. I add a little bit of purpley gray powder to try to make it look even brighter white, and you can see that I accidentally added a little bit too much pink there, and those minis actually came out much more pink than I wanted them to be. So I put them to the side and we're going to deal with them later. So I made another batch of minis, and this color is coming out just how I wanted it, that really, really subtle pink. It looks much better. So these are all set. They're just going to simmer for a little while longer, and I'm washing them. So using those minis that I had kind of made the mistake on, I decided to make a whole new sock set. So on the left side here, I have some new 100-gram main skeins to go with those minis. I also had mixed up way too much brown when I was dyeing the Be My Valentine colorway, so I had a lot of that left over, so I decided to use some of that for this new colorway. Yeah, there's that really pink. You can really see how pink that came out. I've got those minis there, and we are just going to go in a completely different direction. I am using the leftover brown and green that I had from the previous colorways and adding a little bit of blue and some gray to this one. And I'm going to completely transform these minis. Here we go. Yep, just adding this gray, and it's actually a teal green color, but it with the mixture with the gray, it really made this spectacular like slate blue color. I really love it. So I've also added a few splashes of that slate blue color into the main colors. Oh, I am really excited about how well this is coming out. This is definitely like my kind of colorway. So we're just flipping them around, gonna repeat and do pretty much the same thing on the other side. This is coming out really cool. I'm really liking how we've got so many different varieties of blue and green and teal in here with that nice brown background. It's going to be a really interesting mix of colors. I think this is a very like masculine colorway, so if you're looking to dye socks for the man in your life, it'll be perfect. So these are the finished colors. This is Romantic Rose, Be My Valentine, and lastly, our bonus adventure colorway. So if you would like to get any of those, please go to granitestateyarns.com. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.